The terms casket and coffin are often used interchangeably, but their use as synonyms is no open and shut case. Coffins are actually those 8-sided burial boxes that are narrower at the bottom. Think Dracula. Whereas caskets are rectangular. They can be made of metal, plastic, or wood. Whether the wood is ash, oak, mahogany, or something else, the casket's construction is generally the same. First, they run wood slats through a machine called a molder. This profiles the edges, carving a tongue on one side of each slat and a groove on the other. A worker applies glue to these edges, then positions the slats in a rounded vise that locks the tongues and grooves together. The glue dries in an hour and a half, bonding the slats permanently into a large curved piece. This piece will form the top and long sides of the casket's rectangular cover. To complete the rectangle, a worker now makes a V-shaped cut on each side and glues in a triangular piece of slatted wood. While a press clamps the components tightly together, he secures the end pieces in place with joint fasteners, which are like heavy-duty staples. Now a machine carves a groove into the cover's underside at the midpoint. A worker glues in a wooden piece, securing it with joint fasteners. This piece is called the bridge, and it's the point at which the cover will be cut in half later on. They transfer the casket cover to an automated machine that gives it a rough sanding, then a finer sanding. The next step is to attach a decorative molding to the base of the casket cover. This molding has a groove on the inside into which they'll later tuck the edge of the casket's upholstery fabric. A worker glues a small piece of wood in the groove at the midpoint so the groove won't show when the cover is open. Now he saws the casket cover in two, right through the bridge. Meanwhile, another worker assembles the bottom of the casket called the box. He glues together the sides and applies a bottom molding, securing everything with joint fasteners. At this point, the box is upside down. He attaches the bottom, then flips the box right side up. Now it's time to join the cover and box using 4 hinges. They spray the casket with one of countless shades of wood stain, then rub it in equally over the entire surface. The casket goes into an oven for an hour to dry the stain. Next, a worker sprays on 2 coats of lacquer with 40 minutes drying time between applications. This happens to be a high gloss finish, but many models have a duller sheen. Once the lacquer dries, a worker attaches handles. The more expensive the casket, the fancier the features. This higher-end oak model with decorative corners has wood and metal swing handles. Other models have all-metal swing handles or fixed bars made of wood, metal, or both. The fancier caskets also have an adjustable wooden bed inside with a mechanism to adjust the height. A worker covers the bed in fabric. The base model bed is made of absorbent paper laid over a product called wood wool, which is simply shredded wood. The upholsterer lines the inside of the casket with foam, covering it with either velvet, satin, or silk polyester crepe. By folding, nailing, and stapling this fabric a certain way, she creates pleats, tufting, and other design details. Generally, the more expensive the casket, the finer the fabric, and the more ornate the upholstery. A decorative trim hides the staples. Fabric straps or metal elbow brackets hold the cover open. When it comes to how beautiful and elaborate caskets can be, the ground's the limit. The bagpipe is one of the oldest instruments. To play it, you blow into a pipe attached to a leather or synthetic bag, then press on the bag to force the air out through other pipes to create sound. You transform this sound into a melody using finger holes on a reeded pipe called a chanter. They start by carving a 20-centimeter long block of wood, rounding it to a diameter of 4.5 centimeters. It's part of a drone, one of 3 on the bagpipe, that create bass and tenor harmonies. They drill a hole that will later become an air channel. Using a lathe and a plastic template as a guide, a craftsman spins the wood to carve it, a process called turning. The lathe has a stationary carbide-tipped cutter, strong and precise enough to cut this hard African blackwood. It's a very heavy and dry wood, perfect for turning. For more intricate decorative cuts, he uses a handheld device called a combing tool. Next, he uses what's called a parting-off tool to make additional decorative grooves. He measures these grooves using a caliper to ensure they meet the specifications of the design. The craftsman drills a hole to create what's called a projecting mount. It's made of imitation ivory, and at 5 centimeters in diameter, it fits on the drone like a washer. But it's just for decoration, one of 7 on the bagpipe. He adds a metal component called a slide, also for decoration. Next, he turns what's called a blowpipe. This one's made of plastic to withstand moisture from saliva. Traditionalists prefer blowpipes made of wood. He adds a mouthpiece. It retracts by 20 centimeters depending on the player's height. The player blows into the mouthpiece to inflate the bag. A small metal tube between 2 plastic blades forms the chanter reed. When air strikes it, the reed vibrates inside the chanter, a pipe at the bottom of the instrument that has 8 finger holes for notes and 2 for pitch adjustment. To secure it, the craftsman wraps the reed with hemp string and winds Teflon tape over the string for an airtight seal. Then a brass wire called a bridle to control the shape of the reed. Narrowing the opening produces a higher-pitched sound. The craftsman ties hemp string to create traction between the drone segments, holding them together. Hemp string is especially durable, yet easily replaced if damaged. Here's the completed tenor drone. Next, a craftsman inserts what's called a stalk through the zippered opening of the pipe bag. The pipe bag's made of synthetic, breathable material. The 5 stalks fit through a rubber collar in the bag, attaching to the 3 drones, the chanter, and the blowpipe. The craftsman inserts the chanter through a sleeve in the bottom of the pipe bag. He secures it with string, tightening it around the bag. He closes the zipper to form an airtight seal. Next, he places the pipe bag into a decorative velveteen bag cover. He inserts the stalks through holes trimmed with wool or silk fringe. A rubber valve prevents the player's air from coming back up through the blowpipe, channeling it through the chanter instead. Another part, called a drone reed, acts like a plastic tongue. It vibrates over a long hole to create the bagpipe's humming sound. The craftsman inserts the drone reed into the drone and then into its stalk. Wool cords keep the drones in place while the player plays. Finally, the craftsman fits the chanter reed into the chanter, then slides it into its stalk. A bagpiper must have a strong set of lungs because some songs can run for 20 minutes. Now that's long-winded.